więc witam Państwa serdecznie na panelu na temat dotyczącym czynnych użytkowników w przestrzeni miejskiej. I tak jak mówię, zaczniemy od projekcji filmu. Potem przedstawię Państwu prelegentów. Pierwszy film to jest film Pawła Libery, który powstał w ramach kampanii Room for Change i tytuł filmu to jest Gdzie Polacy wstrzykują.
Lata 80., 90. to wiadomo dominacja polskiej heroiny, tak zwanego kompotu.
Scena narkotykowa ulega cały czas zmianom, ale uległa znacznym zmianom w ostatnich paru latach.
Kwestia iniekcyjnego używania zmieniała się równolegle do zmiany sceny narkotykowej.
W okresie tych zmian, transformacji ustrojowych, zmian na scenie politycznej, gospodarczej, w konsekwencji zaczyna się okres powolnego stabilizacji, czy nawet zmniejszania się problemów związanych z używaniem polskiej heroiny. Ona zostaje zastąpiona w znacznej części przez już heroinę do palenia, brown sugar, czasami również heroinę krystaliczną, ale możemy powiedzieć, że lata 80. i 90. to dominacja używania opiatów w Polsce.
2008-2009 nie było przez moment heroiny, więc wtedy też były boom na dopalacze, które były w sklepach, tak zwane dopalacze. I ludzie też zaczęli szukać substancji, które mogłyby, myślę sobie, trochę zamiennie zadziałać jak heroina na czas, kiedy jej nie ma.
Ja mam takie poczucie, że wcześniej jednak była jakiś jakby taki bardziej stabilny jej obraz. Od pojawienia się sklepów z dopalaczami i później wszystko, co się wydarzyło, to właśnie był ten czas, kiedy to uległo ogromnej zmianie.
Dzisiaj ta scena narkotykowa wygląda kompletnie inaczej.
Dużo się jakoś rozmyło w kwestii takich statystyk czy możliwości obserwacji, bo po pierwsze mieliśmy różne substancje i środki pozyskiwane w mieszkaniach i w domach przy użyciu różnych środków spożywczych ogólnodostępnych, czy mieliśmy rynek dopalaczy, stąd też po pierwsze heroiniści, po drugie iniekcyjni użytkownicy trochę zniknęli, trochę się rozmyli.
Jeszcze w 2007-2008, później też nasi klienci używali heroiny, amfetaminy. Tak teraz większość używa nowych substancji, które się pojawiają na rynku.
Problem używania opiatów, zarówno heroiny brown sugar do palenia, heroiny krystalicznej, a przede wszystkim kompotu, jest problemem, który ulega z roku na rok zmniejszeniu. Coraz mniej ludzi sięga. Co jest charakterystyczne, że w tej grupie, która w tej chwili liczy około prawdopodobnie między 10 a 15 tysięcy osób w Polsce uzależnionych od opiatów, obserwujemy stały wzrost takich wskaźników jak chociażby wiek.
Myślę też, że bardzo ciekawymi danymi byłyby, a my tych danych nie mamy, dane z prywatnych ośrodków leczenia, które są bardzo dynamiczne, krótkoterminowe, od 4 do 7 tygodni. Tam ktoś się leczy. Leczą się tam też heroiniści, których zresztą ja znam, tylko że dostępności do tych danych nie mamy, bo prywatne ośrodki się raczej nie rozliczają. Myślę, że nie dlatego, że jakoś nie chcą, tylko że też o takie dane nikt się do nich nie zgłasza. Są to dane, które mogą zachować anonimowość pacjenta, a na to oni w głównej mierze stawiają.
Wydaje się, że w tej grupie tych 10-15 tysięcy użytkowników opiatów znaczna ilość używa opiatów w formie iniekcyjnej. Natomiast jak to wygląda, to iniekcyjne używanie wśród innych grup wiekowych czy związanych z używaniem innych substancji jest nam bardzo, bardzo trudno ocenić. Te wzory zachowań są bardzo różne. I naprawdę wahałbym się podawać jakieś liczby, co do których w ogóle nie mam pewności, czy one mają odzwierciedlenie w rzeczywistości.
Nie testuje się inikcyjnych użytkowników, nie testuje się ich w ogóle, znaczy ani pod kątem zakażeń, ani też się nie ma takiej woli zajęcia się tą grupą. U nas z tego badania wyszło, że 14,7% tych badanych było zakażonych wirusem HIV i 71,6% HCV. To są ogromne liczby w porównaniu z oficjalnymi danymi. Około 1/3 z tych osób doświadczała bezdomności, takiej chronicznej lub takiej bezdomności, która polega na tym, że gdzieś tam ludzie się tułają, tu się gdzieś przykleją, tam gdzieś przynocują, ale nie ma takiego poczucia bezpieczeństwa. 1/3 osób w ciągu ostatniego roku przebywała w zakładach karnych.
Ludzie nie mają się gdzie tak naprawdę podziać i między innymi zajmują takie miejsca jak budynki właśnie do rozbiórki i tak dalej. Ostatnio umieralność jest ogromna właśnie w takich miejscach, pustostanach.
Ludzie zaczęli znikać z ulic, w sensie my nie mamy już czegoś takiego jak bajzel. Są jakieś punkty, konkretne skupisk, ale dużo mniejszych, na dużo mniejszą skalę i nie tak w cudzysłowie jawnych czy rozpoznanych, jak to było kiedyś.
Co jest być może pewną namiastką, chociaż to nie da się w ogóle porównać z tym, co kiedyś działo się na kilku dworcach kolejowych w Polsce, czy w okolicach Barbakanu, czy Uniwersytetu Warszawskiego w Warszawie. To już są kompletnie inne zjawiska, ale niektórzy upatrują takiego, może nie otwartej sceny narkotykowej, ale takiej koncentracji problemów narkotykowych i okołonarkotykowych, upatrują często w programach metadonowych, w tych miejscach, gdzie są w sposób uzasadniony. Przychodzą osoby uzależnione, przychodzą osoby leczące się w programach substytucyjnych. I to nie chcę powiedzieć tylko tutaj oskarżać w jakikolwiek sposób te osoby, które są uczestnikami, że one są jakimiś nośnikami czy wywoływaczem problemów, choć na pewno dla opinii takiej publicznej często te osoby stanowią pewnego rodzaju źródło strachu czy niepokoju, ale również to, że te osoby tam się gromadzą, często są ofiarami przestępstw, są ofiarami wymuszeń, ofiarami właśnie działalności pewnych gangów, które chcą uzyskać swoje korzyści poprzez handel narkotykami, a poprzez również inne sytuacje.
Jeżeli mam zażyć narkotyk, nie zażywam nigdzie indziej, tylko albo tutaj, albo w domu. Nienawidzę klatek, bo wiem, z czym to się wiąże. Albo po prostu z tym, że od kogoś dostanę w głowę z sąsiadów, albo po prostu zaraz będzie policja.
My tak naprawdę nie wiemy, jak wygląda scena iniekcyjna w tej chwili, co nie znaczy, że jej nie ma.
W tej chwili problemem jest mefedron, który biorą dożylnie, i niestety metadon. Nowy metadon, bardziej stężony, trochę inny skład chemiczny musi być, skoro mogą brać go dożylnie.
On jest inaczej pozyskiwany, jest to postać stężona. Nie jest to gęsty syrop o tak dużej objętości jak kiedyś, tylko jest to bardziej wodniste.
W tym mieście jest 5 programów i połowa wszystkich pacjentów substytucyjnych z Polski. Czyli to stężenie metadonem, można powiedzieć, w Warszawie jest bardzo wysokie.
Czy to na ulicy, czy w poradni, to nie jest tak, że nie ma heroinistów. Heroiniści są. Są też młode osoby, dawno nie spotkałem młodego człowieka, w sensie 14-16 lat, który używałby heroiny brązowej, ale spotykam 14, 15 i 16-latków, którzy używają kodeiny, więc i też iniekcyjnie.
Mimo tego, że tych potrzeb związanych z igłami, z strzykawkami, jakby nie ma już aż tak palących, to są inne. Na przykład ciągle jest brak dostatecznego dostępu do leczenia substytucyjnego. W niektórych regionach Polski, co wstyd się przyznać, w 2 województwach ten dostęp jest zerowy. W związku z tym jedyną ofertą, która może być do tych ludzi kierowana, bardzo często byłyby programy redukcji szkód.
Redukcja szkód nawet nie redukuje, nawet nie jest profilaktyką zakażeń. Nawet to się nie dzieje. To znaczy nawet nie ma takiego, nawet nie można stwierdzić, że rzeczywiście ta wymiana igieł strzykawek trafia do wystarczającej liczby osób. To jest 10%. To jest 10% ze wszystkich problemowych użytkowników opiatów. Ale mówimy tylko o użytkownikach opiatów, natomiast jest cała grupa iniekcyjnych użytkowników stymulantów, których się w ogóle nie bierze jakby pod uwagę i też nie włącza w ten większy obraz.
Ja myślę sobie, że tu trzeba by się cofnąć w ogóle do początków programu substytucyjnego w Polsce. Ja mam takie przeświadczenie, że w dalszym ciągu, po 20 paru latach, w dalszym ciągu jest to program eksperymentalny. Co prawda już wiadomo, że działa metadon na polskich użytkowników heroiny, w ogóle wchodził jako dla użytkowników kompotu polskiego. Także to jest zupełnie co innego niż w tej chwili jest dostępne na rynku. Natomiast problem jest w funkcjonowaniu programów, które w zasadzie pacjenta zostawiają samemu sobie. Ja nie mówię o wszystkich, od razu zaświadczam, bo są programy takie, w których rzeczywiście pacjent jest zaopiekowany. Niemniej i tak łamią abstynencję, za to są karani i tak dalej.
Grupa ludzi, którzy wymagają bardzo poważnych działań związanych z redukcją szkód, to są najczęściej młode osoby, które sięgają po te NPS-y, nowe substancje psychoaktywne, popularnie nazwane dopalaczami. Ilość zatruć, ilość epizodów, gdy osoby trafiają do oddziałów toksykologicznych, gdzie są leczone zatrucia, systematycznie, może nie zawsze to jest jeszcze potwierdzone, ale już w statystykach widać wzrastająca ilość zgonów spowodowanych przez nadużywanie dopalaczy. To wszystko wskazuje na to, że programy redukcji szkód powinny znowu jakby trafić na pierwszą linię zainteresowania. I szczególnie przykre jest, że chyba Krajowe Biuro jest chyba ostatnią instytucją, która jeszcze w jakiś sposób stara się wzmacniać programy redukcji szkód, ale oczywiście my nie jesteśmy w stanie pokryć potrzeb w całej Polsce. Staramy się przekonać samorządy, bo w samorządach na poziomie gminnym, na poziomie wojewódzkim są środki, które mogłyby być użyte na wspieranie programów redukcji szkód.
Myślę sobie, że to jest niesłychanie skomplikowany w tym momencie problem, ponieważ zbiera się po 250-300 osób w jednym programie. Oni są niezabezpieczeni w żaden sposób, oprócz wydawania metadonu, czyli nie mają dostępu do opieki socjalnej, do dobrego psychologa, terapeuty, nikt im nie pomaga pozałatwiać spraw papierkowych. Nasza organizacja zajmuje się udzielaniem porad prawnych. To rzeczywiście rzesze osób, które przychodzą do rzecznika, są z programów metadonowych.
To wszystko się sprzęgło, to znaczy trudno mówić tylko o metadonie albo tylko o dopalaczach. Jeśli mówimy o tej grupie klientów, która jest nasza od wielu lat, to tak naprawdę to jest jakiś odsetek wszystkich potrzebujących. To znaczy, gdyby patrzeć na to, jaka jest liczba problemowych użytkowników opiatów w Polsce, to serwisy redukcji szkód zaspokajają mniej więcej 10% tych osób. Kilkanaście tysięcy ludzi uzależnionych od opiatów pozostaje i poza leczeniem substytucyjnym, i poza wszelkimi innymi serwisami, jakby też naszymi.
Czego w Polsce brakuje, jeśli chodzi o redukcję szkód? Myślę sobie, że przede wszystkim bezpiecznych pokojów iniekcyjnych. Jest to niesłychanie ważne. W tej chwili prawo nie dopuszcza otwierania takich pokojów. Natomiast nie ukrywajmy, kilka w Polsce działa nielegalnie. Ale wiem i z różnych wyników badań przeprowadzanych przez organizacje, które się tym zajmują. To jest to niesłychanie potrzebne.
Obecnie korzystam tylko i wyłącznie tu, z tego miejsca, bo tylko jedno, jedyne miejsce takie istnieje tu, w tym momencie, w tej chwili. A tak to nie ma nic. Brakuje sprzętów do iniekcji, brakuje miejsc właśnie takich, gdzie ludzie mogliby przyjść i bezpiecznie sobie po prostu, nie wiem, zrobić ten zastrzyk pospolity.
Generalnie ludziom, którzy tu przychodzą, to miejsce daje to, że mogą sobie bezstresowo po prostu podać gdzieś narkotyki. Nie muszą gdzieś się połętać po jakichś klatkach i tak dalej, gdzie mogą dostać w głowę albo ganiać się z policją i tak dalej.
Gdyby rozniosło się w środowisku osób używających iniekcyjnie, że są takie pokoje, myślę, że dużo osób można by było po prostu zwyczajnie uratować.
Z jednej strony mamy taką sytuację, że chciałbym, żebyśmy robili wszystko, co może oszczędzać ludzkie zdrowie, oszczędzać ludzkie życie. Ale z drugiej strony też jesteśmy sygnatariuszami prawa międzynarodowego i również mamy nasze prawo krajowe, które jest tak skonstruowane, że w obecnym kształcie w zasadzie uniemożliwia dostęp do tego typu pomocy.
To już nie musi być tak, że powstaje cały oddzielny program metadonowy, musi być budynek, muszą być lekarze, cały personel zatrudniony, tylko metadon może być dystrybuowany przez lekarzy, w sensie, że ktoś idzie do lekarza jakiegokolwiek, czy w sensie psychiatry, czy nawet do lekarza pierwszego kontaktu, który ma informacje i w jakiejś trudności może powiedzieć: okej, proszę pana, proszę pani, tu jest taki lekarz psychiatra, proszę pójść na konsultację, być może potrzebne będzie leczenie metadonem czy innym substytutem, więc ja myślę, że to powinno przechodzić do służby medycznej bardziej.
To, co by było niezwykle pomocne i co w ogóle by mogło być takim startem, to otworzenie miejsca, gdzie obok pokoju ludzie mogą korzystać z różnych innych ofert, czyli mogą iść do pracownika socjalnego, do lekarza psychiatry, do prawnika, mogą się wykąpać, zrobić sobie pranie, wysuszyć, coś zjeść, najlepiej jeszcze móc gdzieś jakby przenocować, czyli jakby bardziej zobaczyć, mogą się przetestować w kierunku HIV i HCV, bo też wiemy, że oferta punktów konsultacyjno-diagnostycznych nie jest w ogóle, nie sprawdza się w przypadku iniekcyjnych użytkowników, oni się po prostu tam nie testują.
Póki się coś nie zmieni w samym systemie, jeśli chodzi o programy substytucyjne, to w dalszym ciągu pacjenci będą dobierać, będą kraść, będą sprzedawać metadon i będą niezaopiekowani.
Że wszyscy jesteśmy tak samo bezradni i w Polsce zmienia się mało.
To był film, gdzie Polacy wstrzykują i organizatorzy przewidzieli dla Państwa jeszcze jeden film, ten był z Polski, kolejny dystrykt 8 będzie z Węgier, jest trochę krótszy, także teraz proponuję, żebyśmy go obejrzeli.
Két csapkás.
Arra vagyok kíváncsi, hogy a kék pont mióta bezárt, azóta mivel...
Azóta tönkrementünk, mióta kék pont nincs, azóta tönkrementünk. Igen, sterítőt alig lehet kapni.
Te honnan szerzel tűt például?
Például a virágító. Én szeretném, ha a kék pont még egyszer működne. Ó, lábunk is működik. De komolyan mondom, mert... Én is szeretném. Az emberek egymás után többször szólnak egy tűvel. Van, aki több mint egy hónapig tartja magánál, és utána beteg lesz, és az a hír utána, hogy meghalt az ember.
Az Alternatíva Alapítvánnyal tavaly ősszel kezdtünk el dolgozni, miután megszűnt a Kék Pont tűcsere programja, hogy folytatni tudjuk azt a munkát az intravénás felhasználókkal, illetve szexmunkásokkal, ami ott folyt. Jelenleg utcai megkereső munkában végezzük ezt a tevékenységet, tehát tűcserélünk az utcán, illetve éjszakánként a szexmunkásokat keresünk meg, és nekik nyújtunk ártalomcsökkentő szolgáltatást. Ezen kívül még HIV, illetve szifilisz és HCV szűrést végzünk együttműködésben a Baptista Szeretett Szolgálat, illetve az Artér Alapítvánnyal.
Ez nagyon előnyös volt számunkra, betegséggel kapcsolatosan. Most, hogy ez megszűnt, közben ez elég tragikus lett az embereknek megint, mert tűket szedik össze fel a földről, nem kaptak mindenhol tűt, és így az emberek bekattanak, az anyagot nem tudják időbe beadni maguknak. Olyan dolgokat csinálnak, amik normál állapotban nem tesznek meg.
Elkeseredettebbek a drogosok?
Nem, felelőtlenebbek. És most már nem érdekli őket semmi.
Semmi és bolondok.
Semmi, csak az, hogy legyen bennük.
Nincs annyi steril felszerelés, mint előtte. Van is hatással van, hogy mennyire törődnek azzal, hogy steril tűvel szúrnak, vagy sem. Gyakorlatilag ez az önfegyelem, vagy ez a valami egészséges életmód, vagy az a típusú norma, hogy azért jobb steril tűvel szúrni. Nagyon sokan feladták ezt a típusú magatartást, és úgy vannak vele, hogy minden mindegy.
És hogy lehet most tűt szerezni?
Nagyon nehezen. Az, hogy az emberek elmennek, megveszik itt-ott.
És mennyire adják egyébként az utcán a tűt? Azt biztos így hallomásból biztos.
200-300 forintra adnak egy tűt. És azért használják ki az embereket, ilyenekről a drogosokat is ezzel is. És visszajönnek le, és olyan emberek, akik nem csinálják, és pont azok árulják a tűt.
Nincsen az utcán eldobálva tű, azért nincsen, mert összeszedik az összeset, mert annyira nagy hiány van. Tehát minden egyes tűre szükség van.
Ennyi használatot összeszedtem, mi az kesztyűvel, hogy lecseréljem sterilre, hogy tudjak többieknek adni, hogy nehogy ők is meghalljanak, ahol benne. És ez a környék az a környék, ahol a legtöbb drogos megtalálható, és itt kéne, hogy legyen a tűcsere.
Jelenleg itt a 8. kerületben nincsen másik tűcsere program. Nem véletlen az, hogy egy tűcsere programot oda kell telepíteni, ahol a probléma van. Azért, mert ezek a szerhasználók nem mennek nagyon messzire el.
2 kiló zöldgyipara csak 500 forintba kerül, jöjjön el!
Dílereknek egyébként mennyire tett be a tűcsere bezárás?
Ez nem szóló, szóval nem ront, se nem veszítenek.
Szerinted a környékbeliek most nyugodtabbak, amiatt, hogy bezárt a tűcsere?
Szerintem örülnek neki, szerintem. Igen? Szerintem, hát most nem tudom, hogy nem hallottam így még vissza, hogy mi a véleményük, de biztos, hogy örültek neki.
De ugyanúgy itt drogoztak a környéken.
Hát persze, itt.
És az, hogy bezárt a tűcsere, amiatt leszakadt bárki is?
Senki. Sőt, még rosszabb.
A dílerek száma nem lett kevesebb, tehát azok a házak, ahol dílerek vannak, ott ez ugyanúgy problémát jelent, azok a területek, ahova bejárnak szúrni, az most is ugyanúgy problémát jelent. Azok a házak, amiknek a kapuja nem zárható rendesen, oda most is ugyanúgy bejárnak. Hiába szűnik meg egy program, egy szolgáltatás, attól még ezek az emberek nem fognak egyik napról a másikra leszokni.
Depressziósok, idegbetegek, agresszívek, bevesznek gyógyszert, hogy beadja magának a dolgot, és egész nap el vannak. Mert ez ugyanolyan a gyógyszer is az emberek. Szóval azért nem kell megvetni a drogosokat. Valaki kávéfüggő, valaki ilyen függő, olyan függő. Ha azok nem drogoznak, akkor isznak. Mert miből áll az egész? Ivás, kábítószer, gyógyszer. De ez a drogban van egy világ. Ennyi.
Mikor kezdtél el drogozni?
14 évvel ezelőtt, 30 éves koromban. Sajnos azért, mert bekerültem a börtönbe, olyan dolog miatt, persze. Amit egyetemig elkövettem, tönkrement a családi életem, mármint úgy az élettársammal, a gyerekeimet oda kellett adni anyámiknak. És arra jöttem haza, hogy egy műanyag tenyér, műanyag pohár is tele adóssággal a lakás. És így folyamodtam bele az én kábítószerbe. Ott addig 30 éves korom, amikor abszolút normális asszony voltam, normális feleség, családanya, családcentrikus, háziasszony, és ott elszakadt egy szál is kész. Azóta drogozok. És azóta sajnos az életem nem változott.
Hogy az ellátórendszer lábát kirúgták gyakorlatilag. Tehát az alacsony küszöbű programoknak pont az egyik fontos funkciója, hogyha az egész ellátórendszert vesszük, hogy becsatornázza ezeket az embereket a magasabb küszöbű szolgáltatások felé. Tehát anélkül, hogy nincsen egy olyan hely, ahova az aktív anyagosok bemehetnek, és ott kaphatnak információt arról, hogy milyen rehabok vannak, vagy kaphatnak információt arról, hogy milyen kezelések vannak, hogy tudják a hepatitis C fertőzöttséget kezelni. Hogyha ezek nincsenek, akkor nem is tudnak eljutni ezekbe a szolgáltatásokba.
Sőt, mai napig is emlegessük őket, hiányoznak nekünk, például az orsi, a virág, akik közelebb álltak hozzánk, akik ténylegesen sokat foglalkoztak velünk, odafigyeltek ránk, minden egyes nap megkérdezték, hogy jól vagyunk-e, hogyha problémánk volt, észrevették rajtunk, szóval ezek hiányoznak. Meg amiben tudtak, segítettek.
Tudtak segítséget adni, hogyha valahol megakadtam, bármilyen olyan hivatalos ügyben, ahol nem tudom, hol forduljak esetleg, mert sok helyen ugye az emberrel úgy bánnak, mint a kacsalongyal, főleg, hogyha hajlítam, mert én az vagyok, 15 éve, ott leültettek, megkérdeztek, mi a bajom, mi a problémám, születősapja volt az emberek, akkor adtak ajándékot, jó, nem egy nagy basszítás, de bármit is kapott az ember, mert örülsz neki. Sok minden nehezebb tisztaruhát rendezzem magamnak, az emberekkel való kapcsolatot tartani, mert az internetet nem mindegy, hogy tudom használni.
Pont amióta bezárt, azóta az változott meg, hogy egyre nagyobb a betegségek száma.
Láttam a saját szememmel, hogy folyamatosan lőttek egy tűvel, egymás után a tűkkel, és ez nem jó. Nagyon nem jó.
2014 tavaszi epidemiológiai vizsgálat eredményei alapján a 2011-es legutolsó, az előtti vizsgálathoz képest közel a duplájára nőtt a hepatitis C fertőzöttek aránya az intravénus szerhasználók körében. Tehát még Magyarországon kb. 22-25% volt, a hepatitis C fertőzöttek aránya addig az utolsó vizsgálat alapján, tehát tavaly nyár elején 50% volt. Ebben a körben még ijesztőbb adat, hogy a budapesti 35%-os fertőzöttségről 60%-ra emelkedett. Itt nem csak arról van szó, hogy megszűnt tavaly év végén a 2 legnagyobb tűcsereprogram, hanem ezt a finanszírozás csökkentésével maga az ellátórendszer nem volt képes hatásosan megakadályozni a fertőző betegségek terjedését. Azért is nagyon nagy veszteség az ellátórendszernek, ennek a fix telephelyű tűcsereprogramnak a megszűnése, mert azért a magyarországi tűcsereforgalomnak több mint 1/3 ez az egy program fedte le. Tehát itt egy évben mondjuk 2000-2200 klienssel volt kapcsolatban ez a program. Most, hogyha ezt megszűnik, ezt kiveszed, akkor mi, mint egy kicsi alapítvány, akik alulról építkezve indulnak el utcai megkereső munkában, mi nem tudunk ennyi embert elérni. Egészen egyszerűen azért, mert nekünk kell utánuk menni, megkeresni őket. Jelenleg az utcai megkereső munkában nagyon-nagyon minimális steril fecskendőt tudunk kiosztani, ami a forrásaink engedik. Most a szabály szerint maximum 6 darab steril tűt tudunk adni valakinek, ami persze több, mint a semmi, de amikor tudjuk, hogy ezeket az új designerszereket 10-szer vagy 15-ször is szúrják egy nap, akkor ezért ahhoz képest a 6 steril fecskendő nagyon kevés. A legfontosabb tervünk, hogy szerezni egy buszt, tehát hogy egy ilyen rendes mobil tűcsereprogrammá alakulni, mert jelenleg hátizsákkal járjuk az utcát, ugye ez lenne a legfontosabb a jövőben.
Jeszcze raz dzień dobry. Ja nazywam się Agnieszka Lichnerowicz i będę miała przyjemność poprowadzić dyskusję z naszymi szacownymi prelegentami. Może przedstawię ich, to moment najwłaściwszy. Tome Holz, koordynator Miejskiego Programu Redukcji Szkód we Frankfurcie w Niemczech, po mojej lewicy. Dalej dr Levy, International Network of People Who Use Drugs z Londynu, Wielka Brytania. Òscar, Parés, dyrektor International Center for Ethnobotanical Education, Research and Service, Katalonia, Hiszpania. I szukam... Jest autor ostatniego filmu, który Państwo widzieli, Sarosi, Rights Reporter Foundation z Budapesztu, z Węgier. I plan jest taki, że panowie wygłoszą takie 10-minutowe wystąpienia, a potem będą Państwo mieli możliwość zadać im pytania. Będzie kilkanaście, 20 minut na dyskusję, więc Tom, proszę, floor is yours.
I will introduce the OSSIP project from the outreach workers' point of view. I work in the project since 2004, and since 2011 I'm the project leader. I work for the Aidshilfe Frankfurt. We support and promote society in which people can live in self-definition. That means also an autonomous drug consume. Since 2004 we are the coordination, and since 2011 the management organization of OSSIP. OSSIP is the latest development of the Frankfurt Way, with its pillars of therapy, counseling, law enforcement, prevention, and our part, harm reduction, and has the goal to reduce the gathering and consume of people on the street. Also to get in contact with very difficult clients and offer low threshold help, and if needed we act as an intermediary to further helps. Here's a picture from the early 90s, as 800 to 2,000 or more people were daily on the open scene. Nowadays we have 300 to 400 people building the open drug scene in Frankfurt. They take heroin, crack, benzodiazepines, and of course alcohol. We have no problems with crystal meth and nearly no with new psychoactive substances. If you look at the trend of the drug-related deaths since 1991, where we had a peak of 147, we could reduce this high rate to around about 30. It's a result of the Frankfurt Way, with the implementation of consumption rooms, substitution, and diamorphine substitution, which in my opinion is a, you may laugh, a too high threshold offer. Because you're not allowed to sniff or smoke your heroin there, and you have to be half a year in a methadone substitution, and most of the people who need heroin as a substitution can't stay so long in a methadone program. They have problems with methadone. Another positive effect of this treatment is the increase of the average age from 30.4 in the year 1995 to 38.5 in the year 2014. Okay, now we take a look how the project is organized. The outreach part of OSSIP is financed by the city of Frankfurt with €600,000 per year. It's a cooperation between drug aid, police, and regulatory agencies. One of the tasks of the project is to reduce the gathering and consume of the people on the streets. It is segmented in two parts. The police and regulatory agency run the people off if there are too many at a place or if they are consuming on the street. The outreach worker communicatively support the police in their regulatory order and try to reach the most difficult clients which aren't able to get in help with counseling centers. Both parts try to mediate between residents and drug scene. The part of outreach work is the cooperation between 5 drug organizations. der AIDS-Hilfe Frankfurt, Frankfurter Verein, VAE, Jugendberatung und Jugendhilfe und der integrativen Drogenhilfe. Our team consists of 13 social workers dispatched by the drug aid centers and the Youth Welfare Service. The team is supplemented by 2 doctors of the Malteser Werke, which provides low threshold aids 2 days a week. They offer medical care, help with diagnosis, and to get people in the hospital or to other doctors for special screenings. Every 2 weeks, there's a meeting between police and drug aid leaders, including me, where we talk about special happenings on the street or in the drug aid centers. Sometimes it's important to talk about clients who are a danger for themselves or for others. In such situations, both parts have to trust each other. The cooperation gives both parts the possibility to open their mind. And in the meeting, you can naturally talk about problems in the operating cooperation. Now, oh, too late. Now I want to tell you something about the distribution of the activities of the outreach work. Besides 7,500 hours of outreach work per year, we do a lot of intervention to further help programs, accompanies, and counseling. We lend a hand in nearly all kind of issue. By example, to get the baggage out of a locker box in the train station, or to get new clothes if someone is lying on the streets. Here's some details about the intervention that don't look so much, but you should forget that we have the heaviest clients. The others are in the substitution centers or in the counseling centers, and we have the ones which aren't able to get help there. And as you can see, the most important issue of our work is to accompany the clients either to social agencies, hospital, detox centers, etc. We try to give people the feeling that they are worth it, to give them back some human dignity. Since the project started 2004, the number of injection in the injection rooms per year increased from 140,000 in 2004 to more than 212,000 in 2012. Among others, this was only possible under high police pressure. Since 2012, we have a decree. In my opinion, 212,000 might be the limit of what pressure can manage, but the police is not, before the police, it's not possible to keep up such a high pressure. Nearly the same development you can see by the registered users. By this bar chart, you can see that the consume at home decrease. The consume on the streets fluctuates. And I think it's good that people consume more seldom at home because of the possibility to help by an overdose. On street walk, we haven't an overdose until now. Every overdose was near a counseling center. And I think that's good. That shows how the Frankfurt way works. This bar chart I've put in the presentation because it gives a hint which kind of help is needed to get people off the street. Most of the clients stay on the scene to buy drugs. 2 main reasons are also to meet people and boredom, resulting of missing daily structure, followed by selling drugs and substitution. I think if you want to dissolve the open scene and get people in further help, you have to interpret these reasons and react. One possibility would be a governmental low threshold original stuff substitution. Okay, then thank you for your attention. And these are the organizations which work together on OSSIP.
I'm Jay. I'm the Policy and Advocacy Officer at the International Network of People Who Use Drugs. That's Input, the Input Secretariat, and we're based in London. And I'm going to be talking a little bit today about what the ostensible crime of looking like a drug user. We've been hearing a lot about urban space, about policing, about service provision in the context of open space and civil society and urban space. So I really think we need to be looking at how legislation is applied as policy on the ground. Okay. So in terms of what I want to be focusing on, what's it like for people who use drugs to exist in urban space day to day? And one of the principal things that I think it's important to focus on is stop and search. The use of stop and search by the state-sponsored stop and search in the form of police stop and search. I'm going to be drawing on INPUD's consensus statement, which you should see pictured. This is INPUD's consensus statement on drug use under prohibition, and it draws on global consultations that we conducted with drug user rights organizations from, I think, between 25 and 30 countries. The document is very much underpinned by community-driven testimony and sets out some fundamental human rights as they apply specifically to people who use drugs, and also sets out some fundamental demands that must be met in order for those human rights to be recognized and protected. But specifically, I'm going to be focusing on a couple of fundamental human rights. I'm going to be focusing on the right to bodily integrity. I'm going to be focusing on the right not to be arbitrarily detained. I think those are very relevant in terms of stop and search. So, I mean, the answer to these questions might seem obvious, but I think it's important to disentangle and deconstruct these questions. So why are people who use drugs stopped and searched? Also, who is stopped and searched? I mean, the answer to that might seem obvious. It's, okay, so people who use drugs are stopped and searched. But I think the answer is a little bit more complex. So who comes to be stopped and searched? And why do they come to be stopped and searched? All right, so why are people who use drugs stopped and searched? Well, obviously, people who use drugs the world over in almost every context are criminalized, and they're criminalized in various ways through a broad infrastructure of legislation. Okay, there are different laws. Either people who use drugs can be indirectly criminalized, so possession of drugs may be criminalized, possession of a certain amount of drugs may be criminalized as intent to supply drugs or something like this, but in some contexts it's actually illegal to have drugs inside your body. If you take a drug and then leave your home, it's illegal to exist in society as a drug user. It's illegal to just go about existing as a drug user, and that's very relevant. And that's so, I mean, I'm thinking, for example, of Sweden as an example. You know, Sweden's often held up as this bastion of liberal democracy with a prioritization of individual freedoms. That's very far from the case, where in Sweden, if you exist in society as a drug user, you're breaking the law. A police officer can grab you, make you give blood, make you give urine, test your blood, and you can be incarcerated or fined. Okay, so because people who use drugs are criminalized in various different ways, this means they're judged to be criminal. And in so being judged, they're judged to be dangerous, they're generalized as being deviant, socially disruptive, as criminals, okay? So I'm going to be drawing on a few quotations from participants who participated in the consultations that informed INPUD's consensus statement. So this was from the consultation that I conducted in Bangkok with a Nepalese drug user from the Asian network of people who use drugs. The general perception is generalization, that drug users are thieves, they're criminals, they do crimes and all those things. So they always see drug users as a homogeneous group. Drug users are generalized, they're crudely conflated, okay? They're seen to be dangerous, deviant, and criminal. And so this dignifies and justifies state-sponsored harassment, violence, stopping and searching, this sort of thing. Okay, so drugs are controlled. People who use drugs are criminalized. So this gives police legal sanction, legal justification to harass people who use drugs and to stop and search them on the suspicion that they've taken part in or they're going to take part in a drug-related offense. Now, this is quite vague and quite arbitrary. I mean, so why are people stopped and searched? They're stopped for appearing as if they're drug users, often. Now, what does that mean for someone to appear as if they're a drug user, for someone to look like they're a drug user, for someone to look like they have committed or that they're going to commit a drug-related offense? That drug users are certain types of people and they look certain ways, right? Well, people are singled out if they might appear to be under the influence of drugs. To use the Swedish example again, in Swedish this is called drogögon. If you have drug eyes, right, then you can be incarcerated, you can be detained. People are detained, one justification that's used if people show signs of having used drugs or having injected drugs, for example. So we can see that essentially this is what we can call an ontological crime. Okay? It's a crime to exist. It's a crime to exist as a drug user, to bear the apparent marks of being a drug user, the aesthetic signs of being a drug user. That to exist in society is a crime in and of itself. This participant here, again in the Bangkok consultation, this guy was from India. The quick way, the police, they do a test. They make us show our tongue, whether it's dry or not, or they check our arms for injecting marks. So checking for physical signs of apparent drug use, or checking to see if someone's assumedly used an amphetamine-type substance or something like this and their mouth or tongue is dry. The ontological crime of existing in society as a drug user. Okay, but it's not just this. What else determines stop and search? The title sort of gives it away here. I think it's very, very important, and I don't think this has been focused on enough. It's very important to discuss the extent to which the so-called war on drugs is in actual fact a lens through which other groups to be policed, contained, controlled, disrupted, marginalized, socially excluded, subjected to violence, subjected to state-sponsored abuse. That the war on drugs is also a war on sub-communities and other communities of marginalized people. Let's come back to this point. How does one determine, this ridiculous question, how does one determine what a drug user looks like, or what someone who might commit a drug-related offense looks like? Well, this is determined by racism often, it's determined by xenophobia, and it's determined by classism. On the part of the police, on the part of the people who are enacting drug legislation as policy on the ground, okay? There's this notion of police discretion. Now, this is discretion to use racism, xenophobia, and classism in projects of policing. This is what police discretion is in this context. Okay. This participant here from the Tanzanian network of people who use drugs, the police are very arbitrary in the way that they apply the law. And this other participant here from Nepal, from the Asian network of people who use drugs again, we're always the victims of stop and search. What we lack is human rights, legal awareness capacity. If you're from a good socioeconomic background, there's another story. But if the case is from the poor community, he'll go to court, then he'll go to jail. Okay, now, Release, a fantastic organization who are based in London. There's a document of theirs called The Numbers in Black and White. It's a really must-read document that makes use of a lot of empirical data. Now, I'm going to use the UK as a bit of a case study now, drawing on this document. Now, in London specifically, okay, black people are 6 times more likely to be stopped and searched than white people. Now, this is police discretion. What does a drug user look like? This is police discretion. Now, areas of greater socioeconomic deprivation, poorer areas, these areas are subject to greater levels of stop and search. Okay? So poor people are policed more aggressively than more affluent people. This isn't just a war on drugs. This is a war on people of color. It's a war on the poor. Okay? It's a war on these marginalized communities. And of course, it's also a war on people who use drugs generally. This last statistic isn't quite accurate. But in terms of when people are found to have committed a drug-related offense by the police, they're found with drugs upon their person. White people are far more likely to be let off with a caution. black people will be arrested and they'll enter detention, essentially. So people who've basically committed the same crime. Policing is far more aggressive when it comes to people of color, when it comes to non-white people. Okay, so this stopping and searching, this arbitrary detention, this arbitrary policing, these are tools. These are tools that are used to displace unwanted communities, people who use drugs, as well as other unwanted communities, people of color, the poor, the socioeconomically and politically disenfranchised. These are tools with which to displace these communities and displace people who use drugs from public space and from civil society. I was very concerned yesterday to hear the fact that people who use drugs apparently have been displaced from a train station, something like this, and this was seen to be a really positive thing, that people who use drugs aren't visible anymore in civil society. I found that quite difficult to hear. So, criminalizing legislation and prohibition, the so-called war on drugs, they're used to moralize, like this train station, they're used to moralize and sanitize public space, to displace the unwanted nuisance of people who use drugs from civil society and public space. Okay, we can see these two quotations here from participants. Again, in terms of our consultations from the Australian network, I'll start with, the authority to search based on reasonable suspicion can be used to intimidate and harass so-called known users as a way of controlling them and restricting their right to freedom of movement and expression. And a participant from the drug user organization in Ireland, there's a big problem with homelessness. So a lot of people that are homeless are injecting drugs and they've nowhere to do it safely and cleanly. But the discourse, the conversation is more around how bad it looks. I'd be concerned that it's about the people, you know, that they're not to be seen. This is the case not only with drug legislation that's used as a lens through which to displace people who use drugs from public space, but this is also the case in terms of other marginalized communities. We've heard about other marginalized communities of sex workers, for example. We can see this quotation here from a participant from Latvia, from the Eurasian network of people who use drugs. There are constant raids on female sex workers and drug users. So a lot of people who use drugs try to stay away from the center of the city. So the sites where you can buy drugs are in the suburbs and the outskirts of the city. We can see that legislation enacted as policy by the police is used to displace these unwanted communities from public space, from civil society. Okay. So in summary, I just want to mention a few. These are inalienable human rights. They apply to everybody, but I think they specifically apply to people who use drugs in the context of what we've been discussing now. INPUD's consensus statement, and if you're interested in taking a look at it, it's on INPUD's website, and I've got USB drives that I'd be very, very happy to give you that have a copy of our consensus statement on it that sets out the fundamental human rights of people who use drugs. People who use drugs, just like anybody else, have the right to non-discrimination. Using drugs doesn't mean you're not entitled to this right. People who use drugs have the right not to be subjected to arbitrary arrest or detention, right? This is a fundamental human right. Just because you take drugs, it doesn't mean this human right does not apply to you. Right, now people who use drugs have the right to bodily integrity. Now bodily integrity is so systemically and routinely violated when people are stopped and searched. And all of these things, this policing, this stopping and searching, create such substantive barriers in terms of people accessing service provision, healthcare provision, harm reduction interventions. It's all very well having services available for people who use drugs, but if they're policed, if they're displaced, if they're subject to state-sponsored violence, harassment, abuse, violations of their bodily integrity, these are really significant barriers in terms of their accessing services, healthcare provision, and what harm reduction is available. Okay, I'm just going to end with a quote from this participant from WADU, the Malaysian network of people who use drugs. "We don't ask for more. We just ask for the equality with others. Don't do stuff that you don't do to other people." Thank you.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank the organization for inviting me to the conference. And second, I wanted to thank the Open Society for translating this report into Polish. We wrote it in Spanish and now it's in English and in Polish. And for me it's kind of funny because in Spain, when the Spaniards want to make fun about Catalans, they say that we are Polish people. So at the end now I have my Polish report. Okay, I'm going to talk about cannabis social clubs and I'm going to focus more on the Catalan experience. But first of all, I want to give 5 general key ideas to understand the whole presentation. Spain is nearly a federal state, so there are 17 autonomous regions inside Spain. And each community, each region has its own level of competencies. So for example, the penal code is decided in Madrid by the central government, but the health policies are decided by the regions. So for example, Catalonia is one of the regions with more competencies. We have health policy, we also have the prisons, decide the prisons policy, even we have our own police, okay? So you see that inside Spain there are different realities, and this is why inside Spain there have been many different responses to the drug policy issues. So for example, nowadays in Catalonia we have 13 consumption rooms, and in the rest of Spain there's just 1, okay? The second idea is more related to laws, the 2 following. The drug consumption has never been criminalized in Spain. And the second idea, it's a little boring idea, I hope I can explain. It's a jurisprudence developed by the Supreme Court in the 90s, called shared consumption. What is shared consumption? For example, if we are a group of drug addicts or drug consumers, and we are in a home, and we decide that we want to buy drugs, I collect the money of all my colleagues, and they stay at home, and I go to buy the drugs. If the police catch me on the street, okay, as this is not for making profit, this is for a group of addicts that we are sharing our drugs, I won't be judged as a drug dealer, okay? This won't be a criminal offense. So shared consumption is the legal form that has led to the cannabis social clubs. The 4th idea is that the history of cannabis social clubs began in 1993. Okay, this is 26 years ago. I won't explain the whole history. You can find it here if you want. But you have to understand that it has been a slow development. In 1993, a group of 100 activists from Barcelona, they decide to do the first public plantation. They grow 200 plants. So they want to break the logic of the black market. They want to get out of the black market. So they did this first public plantation, and it was not finished. It was stopped by the police. But during 26 years, this has been slowly evolving by activists and civil society. There's never been a specific law regulating cannabis social clubs in Spain. So I will begin in 2007, really close, 9 years from now. This is the city photo of the skyline of Barcelona. This is Parc Güell. Parc Güell is one of the most touristic places in the city, done by the genius Antoni Gaudí. And as you see, the arrows are beginning and pointing to Amanita muscaria, which is a magic mushroom used in Europe. This is because Barcelona has always been a very psychoactive city, okay? We have a special relation with drugs. So in 2007, the first cannabis social club was working. Here I put first organic cannabis social club because a cannabis club has 3 phases of activity: cultivation, transportation, and distribution. And since 2007 in Barcelona, it did not exist a club that really worked in all the 3 phases in a really transparent and really good way. And this was based in FAC model. I won't say it in Spanish because it would sound really horrible. Okay. FAC model. The FAC model was developed by the first activist, and it was really an idea of working inside an associationist point of view. Everything is decided by the assembly. There's no profit. It's a reduced number of members, so it is really experiment with all the measures really concrete. What happened in 2 years? That there were 14 cannabis social clubs, and this FAC model began to change a little bit in some aspects. For example, not all the decisions were taken in the assembly. For example, many members were accepted on the club. So in the beginning we had like 100 members, and in 2009 we could have like 500 members in one club. But this really make a big change in 3 years. In 2012, we had between 150 and 200 cannabis social clubs. And there was not 2 models or 3 models. Really, there were many models, even as many models as many cannabis social clubs. For example, some clubs at that point, they had like 10,000 members, okay? This would go make crazy the first activists who built the first club. So in 2012, we had a big mess in the city. Barcelona has been always the city with more clubs in the whole Spain, and Catalonia, the region with more clubs in the whole Spain. Nowadays, we have between 800 and 1,000 cannabis social clubs in whole Spain. 400 of them are in Barcelona. If you don't know what a cannabis social club is, a cannabis social club is a non-profit association. To become a member, you need to be more than 18 years old, even that some clubs ask 21 years old for membership. And you have to be resident on Catalonia or in Spain and previous cannabis consumer. When you become a member, you sign an agreement and you declare that you are over 18, resident and previous consumer, and you have to write down the amount of cannabis that you will consume during the 1 month. Okay? Normally the limit that you can put is 90 grams. So you can write till 19, from 90 to less, okay? Why they need this number? Because adding all the numbers of all the members, they know exactly how many plants, how many cannabis they have to produce. The thing is that clubs cannot produce more cannabis than the needed for its members. Because if not, they could be accused to have more weed than they need, and this could go to third parties. So this could go to traffic. Okay? That's why the provisions need always to be adjusted. What happened in 2012? We had the Rasquera case. It's also explained in the report. Rasquera, it's a population that I'm Catalan and I didn't know it exists till the Rasquera case. It's 2 hours from Barcelona. It's a population of 800 people, and most of them are people older than 65 years old, retired. There's no economy, nothing to do there. And Rasquera was the second municipality with more public debt in the whole Spain in 2012. So suddenly we saw in the newspaper that the mayor of Rasquera, is this guy you have here, he presented an anti-crisis plan which have different elements, but I will just talk about 2. One is preserving the white goat of Rasquera, which is unique from there. And the other one was producing marijuana for one cannabis social club from Barcelona, which at that point had 5,000 members. So in 2 years, the club will pay to the municipality 1.2 million euros that would be used to pay all the debt that they had. So as this was a very radical idea, this mayor proposed to do a referendum to all the inhabitants of the town. I went there that day and it was really funny because it was full of old people going to vote for marijuana, and you have like Al Jazeera and BBC, so it was a weird situation. But the thing is that the mayor won. 56% of the population of the town wanted to fight, wanted the anti-crisis plan, and this was stopped by courts, okay? Because when they went to public, from the central government, from Madrid, they said, you are not allowed to do that, this is impossible. But the reaction also came in the health department of the regional level in Catalonia. This is a photo of our parliament. And what it happened is that Rasquera was the top of the iceberg. So suddenly the public opinion and also the policymakers discovered that there was not 1 or 2 clubs, that we had 200 clubs in the city, that there was a huge problem and not a specific regulation. So the health department in June of 2012 decided to begin to study how this regulation could be done. I was lucky because I was working as a consultant for the health department, so I could see how all this was built from inside. So it was a strategy with 3 points, a commission with all the chiefs of all the departments inside the Generalitat who have something to say regarding to this marijuana issue. So the police, the justice, the health, also the prosecutor. The prosecutor, of course, was coming from Spain. He was from Madrid, let's say. He was defending the penal code, so this was where the decision or the difficult discussion was developed. Also in the health department, in the health commission of the parliament, where all the political parties are represented, we began a discussion there, and also meetings with representatives. This process that it was announced to be ended in a few months lasted 2 years. I will explain now what happened in those 2 years. So as no regulation was coming, the phenomena keep spreading. So at the end of 2012 we had 200 clubs, but in 2 years we had 400 clubs. There was a kind of polarization of models. So a lot of clubs wanted to really keep their activity in a low profile. They don't want to have tourists, they don't want to have non-residents, they don't want to have more than 500 members. But other clubs, as they saw that nothing was happening, they have tourists, they have thousands of members. So there was also like a fight among the representatives of the different cannabis social clubs in Spain. Also, Barcelona is a very touristic city, and the mayor began to be concerned about this idea that Barcelona was becoming the Amsterdam of the south of Europe. So some kind of tensions were inside the municipality and the Generalitat. So in the August of 2014, in the city of Barcelona, there was this sativa operation where 150 clubs were visited or registered by the police, and 45 of them were shut down. It was not clear why they were shut down. Some of them, yes, because they were doing excesses. They were giving flyers in La Rambla, which is the main street of Barcelona, to tourists to become a member. So this was a big mess. And 45 of them were closed. Others were closed just because one responsible of the police had no good relation with the guy who was managing the club. So really not transparent criteria. And at the end of 2014, finally, the Parliament of Catalonia, this was the Health Commission, proposed a resolution, which is not a law, it's a resolution, it's like a pronunciation of the Parliament, built from the harm reduction philosophy, with the consensus of all the political parties / Partido Popular. Partido Popular is the political party running in Madrid, is a conservative political party, and it's absolutely against any intent to go forward any kind of regulation or even to discuss it. And the thing is that this mechanism was the same that in Catalonia happened 20 years ago with the heroin epidemic, okay? It was the same philosophy that helped to gather this consensus among all the parts. This resolution is for the first time a recognition that the cannabis social clubs is an existing phenomenon in society. They propose a specific register of these entities in the health justice, because nowadays these clubs are in the same list as all the other associations, so you really cannot know which is a cannabis association or a normal whatever association. This resolution invites the municipalities to develop his own regulations, more urbanistic regulations, like opening hours and distances between cannabis clubs or cannabis clubs and schools, for example. And at the end, this text does not talk about cultivation or transportation, which is the less strong part or the most vulnerable part of all the three phases for cannabis clubs. So this is somehow recognizing that Catalonia cannot solve the cannabis problem in Spain. We need to discuss about the penal code. And this also leads us to a compromise solution similar to Dutch coffee shops. So nowadays in Catalonia, it's quite safe to go to a cannabis club, to become a member, to get your weed there. But it's not safe to grow the plants or to transport the plants on the street. So this still has been a little like the backdoor problem of the Dutch model. So the reaction, this is Mariano Rajoy, the president of the government. This is his last European campaign, saying trabajar, hacer crecer, but it's funny because THC is the main compound of cannabis, even though they are absolutely against cannabis. And this is three headlines of the newspapers. All the attempts in Spain to regulate cannabis social clubs' activity have been brought to court by the Partido Popular. Okay, they have stopped the attempts in the Euskadi, which is in the north of Spain, the other region with a lot of clubs in Spain. They have stopped the municipality regulation developed in San Sebastian also, and they have also stopped one initiative, popular legislative initiative that it was done in Navarra, another community between Catalonia and the Basque Country, and they also stopped this Catalan regulation I explained you in the Catalan Parliament. The worst part of this reaction against clubs has been this summer, because for the first time the Supreme Court has condemned to prison and to pay fines to responsibles of cannabis social clubs. This guy you have here is Martín Barriuso, is the main activist in Spain about cannabis clubs. I had the luck to go with Martín Barriuso to Uruguay to explain what the cannabis social clubs are, and nowadays in Uruguay they are developing and implementing cannabis social clubs based on the experience in Spain. But he has been sentenced to 1 year and 8 months to prison and to pay a fine of 250,000 euros because of developing this cannabis social clubs activity. This was in December. So nowadays a lot of clubs are deciding if they shut down, are deciding if they stop distributing marijuana. So this is the worst moment of cannabis social clubs in Spain. And for finishing, I just want to give you some facts about cannabis in Spain. This is the drug czar of Spain. Since 2007, well, this is more years, but what I want to show you is that even the cannabis clubs have really increased in number. All the prevalence of cannabis use has been going down in those years. The consuming last 30 days is the one you have underlined here, and you can see that till 2005 it's going down. So while cannabis clubs were going up, this was going down. So cannabis clubs do not promote consumption. Also in youth, it happens the same. The prevalences have been going down since 2002, so it's not affecting youth. And the real strategy from the central government these years is more in law enforcement. You can see in all the figures that they have been increasing and more tough laws. The most exemplific one is that the sanctions for consuming or transporting cannabis on the street have raised almost double since 2005. In 2005, we had 285,000 fines, and in 2013, we had nearly 400,000 fines, 87 of them for cannabis. Nowadays, civil society is really well prepared, well organized. We have a lot of discussions, and we are really doing a good lobby to try to change those laws. And some learnings which I cannot extend because I have passed 7 minutes my presentation. But one important thing is that we have a conflict between different levels of administrations. So what we have in Spain is a big mess regarding cannabis social clubs. In one region you are safe and protect, in the other you can go to the jail. And I think that it's better to try to keep the discussion with the public, so I will not extend with the conclusions. Thanks a lot.
Actually, yesterday I made a presentation about the campaign itself, the Room for Change campaign. Both of these videos were produced as part of the Room for Change campaign. So today I will not talk about the campaign itself, but more about the filming and how NGOs can use filming in their advocacy. So when I came to Warsaw this year, I remember that it was in Warsaw where we started making videos or making movies. In 2007, there was an International Harm Reduction Conference in Warsaw, and that was the first time when we started to use videos. And that was the year when YouTube, as a video sharing website, was set up, and the idea came to us that now this is a really great possibility for us, or opportunity for NGOs. You can make your own motion picture. You can have another tool, advocacy tool in your hand to spread your messages. And that time when we came to Warsaw, we had a huge camera, we had a huge tripod, we had a huge bag, so you had to carry a really heavy equipment. Now that really looks very different. When we are going to make a movie, actually 2 cameras and microphones and plugins and everything can fit into one very small rucksack. So technology is really improving. So that means that with a very light and actually not so expensive equipment, all NGOs can make their own media. You can be your own media, you can make your own movies, and nowadays you don't really need very great skills to be a filmmaker. We are not a professional filmmakers. We are NGO people who are making videos for activism. So what we do is we don't produce videos to document things or advertise products or just entertain people, but to change attitudes, to change policies, to improve access to services, which is the end result according to our hope. And now we created a video database on our website. You can go to drugreporter.net. This is our English website. And you can find hundreds of short videos. You can find thematically on drug policy, harm reduction from all over the world. And we also now have training. So we are training other NGOs and other activists to produce videos. So in like 1 week, we can train completely with no previous knowledge. Someone can be trained to use the camera, to use editing softwares, and also to use how you can distribute your video on social media. And now we train more than 100 people. Actually, the video you saw from Poland it was produced by one of our alumni of our video advocacy network, and now we have almost 100 people who are members of this video network from all over the world. Only NGOs and activists who are producing their own videos on drug policy, and just lately we also had a video advocacy training for example, in Indonesia. This is a success story that now they are making very high quality movies in Indonesia for their own purposes, and what is video also very good for is to you can give voice to those communities who otherwise are very very rarely can have any voice in the mainstream media. For example, people who use drugs, and sometimes also service providers are not really listened to in the mainstream media, and when we are doing videos, that's only the first task to produce the video, but then the second and maybe even more important is how you distribute it, how you deliver your message to the public. And here it's not only videos can be also distributed not only online, but you can use the mainstream media to spread your own video materials. For example, in Hungary, we have a cooperation with television channels, so that they use in like evening news, they can use our footage, and that really gives a lot of credibility for NGOs in the eyes of the media. So, for example, the movie which you see from Hungary, it was also parts of the movie were shown in the evening news of major Hungarian television news. So that's why that's how you can multiply your audience, not only through YouTube and Facebook, which is also it can reach out a lot of people, especially young people, and I wanted to say a few words about communication with in terms of this Room for Change campaign. When I was listening to Jay's presentation, and he was saying that for the public and for policymakers, what is important is to displace this problem. So these people not to be seen. And this was a very important issue which we had to address when we made the campaign for drug consumption rooms, because you need to have messages which are appealing to those people who are living around, to those people in the neighborhood. And if you approach these people with a message like, please fight together with us for the human rights of drug users, they won't be interested. So you need to make them interested in your cause. And actually, this displacement issue can be also turned around, and you can tell these people that yes, we understand your concern, but there is a better way than punishing these people, discriminating these people, prosecuting these people. So you can create safe spaces, and that's not only good for people who use drugs, but this is your own interest, because you don't want to step into needles every day. You don't want to see people injecting in your backyard. So that was the aim of our campaign, the Room for Change campaign, that we should show people that to create harm reduction services is not only the interest of drug users, but also the interest of the general public. And if you have any questions about any of these videos, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Jesteś za racjonalną polityką narkotykową opartą na wiedzy, a nie ideologii. Wejdź na urbandrugpolicies.com i podpisz deklarację warszawską.